Morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the Week Ahead report. It's currently Saturday, the 12th of November, and the current time is 8:30. Week Ahead report, basically we talk about the up and coming week, address last Friday night's trading, and also talk about some themes in the market. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into the report. Just let you know we are about to release a new Falcon, the Falcon 2.5. We've got a series of intro seminars on it. It's not a lot of different to what you're actually using at the moment, but there's a few more enhanced functions which I think you'll find quite enjoyable. I'm also a little bit clearer on a few things. But we do have some seminars coming up on that and some webinars, so make sure you keep an eye on your emails for when they are coming. I think there's a couple next week. Okay, let's turn our attention to what happened on Friday night first of all, and quite a good night, very positive across the board, a very, very good run, I guess, on Euro and US equities as a result of developments in the EU. This is the waves of optimism which we've talked about before. We start to get some good news, it picks up momentum, markets go up, we get a good recovery, and then all of a sudden people then start to question things. Is it sustainable, what's happening, and then that optimism deteriorates. The main steps are obviously the austerity measures in Italy, the new PM in Greece, and obviously the proposed new PM in Italy. All solid, I guess, responses. The question is, how will they actually work? And I think that's where the market will be a little bit undecided. But let's run with the optimism while it's there and run through a few of the reports. I guess the most important thing here, as the market is much divided, Euro debate, Goldman says buy, Morgan Stanley says sell. Well, there you have it. So that in itself tells you the market is certainly mixed in what they actually feel. On the news, obviously stocks gain as Europe acts on debt crisis, which is good. We got a good confidence reading out of Michigan, which was positive as well. And on energy, oil advances to cap the longest run of weekly gains. That's quite important, obviously, on the back of Iran concerns there. Also, gold had a good strong move last night, and that was quite encouraging. Okay, let's have a look around the world, a little bit of a market. And let's have a look at world indices first. Dow Jones up 2.19%, very strong. The S&P up 1.95%. The Nasdaq up 2%, all very looking good. Top 50 obviously up 3%. FTSE up 1.85%, reversing those losses the other day. The CAC up 2.76%, and the DAX up 3.22%. Closer to home on the SPY. Up 44 points, 4,353. Having a quick look at commodities, and we'll have a look at a few charts and things. Strong night in energy, that's expected, and you can certainly see there Brent crude 114.15, and that's up 0.44. But West Texas had quite a large move, a little bit surprising actually on the size of that move, but it looks like that's heading through to 100. That, contrary to what we actually thought, that brings that spread right into 15. So that's coming all the way in from 25, 26. So that's been a great little trade. Okay, canola, corn down 7, a little bit soft on some of the ags. Wheat down as well, 646. Keep an eye on wheat. There's some very, very important levels there for it. Rough rice was also down 15.22. Copper was up, reversing some of its losses, 3.49, purely on the back of that optimism. And gold, strong move there, up $30 to 17.90, and obviously look like it will attack that 1800. We're still long gold there, and so people know we took shorts out in the Aussie dollar, expecting that took them out last night, or basically scrambled to get out, but that was with some good profits. Okay, so let's have a quick look now at a couple of the markets. Let's look at the dollar index first. That seems to be one of the big leaders. And as you can see, dollar index now down again, up, down, and there's some good levels there where I think the market should basically find some good solid ground. Now, the fact that we broke above this level here, I'll get rid of those Fibbo numbers. The fact that we broke above here and failed to push on does give us a sign that we've got more of a deeper correction in store for that US dollar. Okay, so that might mean that we might come back to 76-ish. Okay, so just be careful on that. If you're still long the US dollar, there's a little bit more pain that I think that you'll need to take on board. But structurally, we still feel confident about the US dollar, but it'll come back into this support area here. So about another drop of about 1 point on that. How will that affect the Aussie? Obviously expect a lift. That's why we took out our positions, and probably expect a little bit of a move. This little correction here looks like a Fibbo 38.2% retracement, so then we can probably expect that Aussie to trade a little bit higher. Let's have a look at some of the commodities now, and let's look at gold. Obviously, it had a bit of a strut, but look at that trend though. That trend is holding up really nicely, so pretty happy about that until it breaks. If you are long gold, then, and I think a few of our clients are, I mean, I'm still long gold, and I think that you can raise your stop to about 1750. Okay, or maybe a bit below there, 1730, 1740. And I think if it breaks through 1800, the market will get excited, and you can probably add a little bit if you wanted to on that one. But it really has to break it. I sort of think 1800 is a very big level for it. Okay, let's have a look at oil, because that's the next big mover. Up strongly, 1.129%. This trend does worry me, and it worries me on two fronts. The first front is that the concerns in Iran could escalate, and if they escalate, then we've got issues through the Straits of Hormuz. The second concern is a high price of oil will have a concern on the recovery, particularly in Europe. Remember, recovery is expected to trim back from 1.5 to only 0.5%. That, to me, does represent an issue if crude oil stays at these high prices. Now, the global fundamentals don't support a high price. They only support a high price if, in fact, Iran, the trade sanctions, and we get more of a concern there. That's the only reason why oil will probably trade higher. So I think 100 is certainly on the cards. We had a very big level there at 95 or 94.80. That was broken, and since then you can see it's just gone one way upwards. So let's see how that unfolds. But that is the big key. And as people are aware, due to Iran, we've reversed our decisions or our views that we're seeing lower prices. Okay, now the war reports are all about what's coming up in terms of the economic calendar next week. Next week's inflation week. I guess that's what we pretty much call it, because we've got all the CPI data and producer prices. So that always will give us a bit of a lead as to what we're feeling about the inflation. Let's have a quick look first of all. Tuesday we've got RBA minutes, we've got new motor vehicle registrations, GDP trade advance, CPI in the UK. Very important. They're expected to be a little bit benign. So that to me is positive. Positive reinforcement that inflation is not too much of a concern. Then we've got producer prices in the States, also expected to be on the lower side. As we head into Wednesday, Wednesday's Tier 1 day for data, and that to me is the big one. CPI in Italy there. But then you've got CPI in the States, all the extra, all the stuff there. That's also expected to be pretty benign as well. Industrial production, expected to be a little bit of an uptick, which is good. So quite happy on that. And capacity utilisation, I think will continue to show signs of growth. Thursday, average weekly wages in Australia, housing starts in the state, building claims, etc. And of course, as we head on to Friday, we don't expect too much in the way of major data there, except for leading indicators, which is meant to be a little bit positive. Okay, well that's pretty much about it from me for this week, and a little bit of a summary from next week. I think the major themes we're going to be following will be oil, and they'll also be following obviously the US dollar and copper, okay, and of course gold when it reaches 1800. The key on gold will be 1800, 100 on oil, and dollar index, I think we'll see that a little bit lower, which should give some support for the Aussie, but let's see how that trades. But that's it from me. I hope everyone has a great week, and we'll certainly talk to you during the week. Bye for now, and happy trading.